Hi everybody. So what we're looking at here is just your typical display of your email. Now right now our mail is being sorted by when it was received, and it's in what we call descending order. And you can kind of see over here where it says received, there's like a little downward arrow. So the most recent email, because it's in descending order, the most recent email is going to be at the top. Now you have to kind of watch this when you're looking at this, because if you accidentally click onto this one time, it flips it and it makes it ascending. So in essence, at the very top of our list will be the most old mail that we currently have on the server. Now you can very easily fix that by just clicking onto the field heading again, and that'll flip it around. So now the most recent is at the top. And because we have it sorted by when we received, it's also grouping it. And you can kind of see over here where it says today, and then you got yesterday and so forth. So within each of the groups, so within the today group, the most recent is at the top. Within the yesterday group, the most recent is at the top. So that's a pretty nice feature. Now, the other thing you can do is you can say, well, I want to sort it by something else. So if I click on to, let's say, the subject, then I get something like this. And how good that is, I don't know. It's maybe you're just trying to get an idea of how many emails you're getting that have the same exact subject line. Now if I go back and click on to received, then it goes right back to what it was before. So you can see that at the very top, just like that. Now another way that you can use the sort feature is say to yourself, well, I want to see all the email from a particular person. So let's just say Angie's list, all right? So I click onto that, all right? And then I click on to from, and what it does, it groups it by from, you know, who it's from, but it at least puts whoever the email was from that I had clicked onto, it puts them within range here, so I can very quickly see how many I got from that one. Now if I go back to received again, and let's say I go down a little bit further and I say, okay, here's capital 1, right? So I click onto that one, all right, hit the from, and now I've got all my capital 1s right there. So I can go through those and find the one that I'm kind of looking for. And by the way, too, over on the right-hand side, because we're on from, it'll say over here by from, and I can click onto that, and I can choose any other field from there as well. So I can say, well, I want to go back to the received, right? So you go back here to date here, and now I'm back to being received, all right? So a couple of different ways there to view this. So what you're really kind of seeing here is that whatever you sort it by, it groups it by that. Now I've had situations where I've had students tell me that they want their email to be sorted. They want the most recent one at the very top of the list, but at the same time they don't like this stuff here. I have no idea why that bothers them, but they don't like seeing that kind of grouping. They just want to see it line by line without these little group names in here. So how would you get rid of that in case you're one of those that doesn't like this? Well, what you'll do is you can go into the View tab. You can go up here to your View Settings. You can click on to over here where it says Group By. All right. And right now it says automatically group according to the arrangement, or according to what you're sorting it by. So if you take that check mark off and then hit OK a couple times here, there you go. So now the groupings have gone away, at least those headings, but at least it's still, sorted, in descending order as far as the email goes. Now, I've had other students who say that went away and they don't know what they did. Maybe they hit some special key or something like that and got rid of it. How do you bring it back? Well, what you do is just go back into View Settings. We go back to Group By, and we put that little check mark back in there. Hit OK, and there it goes. Now it's back. Now there's another feature I have to show you, but I'm not a real big fan of it, and that is the grouping tool. And here's how this one works. If I go over, let's say, to the from field. Okay, now before, when we had done this, we had clicked on to, like, this is the from here, and it pretty much grouped everything by from. All right, and you can see the field kind of remains in there. Everything else is, over to the right here, but pretty easy to read. Not a tough one. Now watch the difference between doing it that way versus this next way. So I'm going to go back to where I was and get my email back up to the top here. All right, so this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to the field here, but I'm going to do a right click on it. I'm going to tell it that I want to group by this field. Right, so I click onto that, and I get this error message because it says that it can't group it by from and group it by date, and right now it's being grouped by date. Now the reason why it's coming up like that is because we have that grouping capability turned on. So whatever we're sorting by, it groups it by, remember? And I wouldn't even bother showing this to you because it's just kind of a convoluted thing here. But I think it's good to show you, though, because in case you get into this trap, you'll know how to get out of it. How about that? So in the worst case scenario, I'm showing this to you because you might end up here accidentally and go, oh my God, now how am I going to get out of this, right? But anyway, so in order to get in there, to make it group by from, what we have to do is go back into the view settings. This is in the view tab, so view settings, go back to our group by, and tell it not to automatically group by whatever we're sorting by. See, hit OK on that a couple times here, right? And now there we are. Now what I'm going to do, now it's, it's just the normal way here. It's still sorted. Let me just take you back up to the top here. It's still sorted by, the most recent date here. So now, and time, by the way. And then so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another right click on from and tell it that I want to group it by this field like we did before. And now, no problem. Now, the big difference between this, let me just go back to the top here. The big difference here is that the from field has been kind of moved off there, so you don't even see the from field here anymore, okay? And so it gives you a little bit more room to kind of work with. And then we've got, each of whoever the emails are from, we've got them all in there just like that. So I don't know. If this is something that would be attractive as far as you to do, go ahead for it. I mean, it's no problem. So how do I get myself back to where we were before? All right, how do I get rid of this grouping? Well, I could do a right click on here and tell it that I don't want to group by this field. So I can click onto that, and then it goes back. Now you're sitting there saying, oh my God, I lost the from field. Well, what happened was it got thrown over here. So to get that field back over here, we can actually just kind of point right there and drag this, all right? And get about right there and let go, and now it lets go. But normally you'll see little red arrows kind of directing you and showing you where you are currently as you're hovering over there. But for some reason with my graphics, maybe with me recording the screen, it's not coming in too well. But that's all you got to do, just kind of drag it back and forth like that. And then the other thing is we got that extra space up here for grouping by other fields if we wanted to. We can just drag the field up there and group by it. So if I took from here again and drag it back up to there and let go, now I'm back to what I had before. So again, I'll just do a right click on it, tell that I don't want to group by it, puts me over here. I'll drag this thing back over like that, about right there, let go, boom, it drops it right in there for me. And then I really don't need that gap up there. That's kind of bugging me. So I can actually just point at any of the fields here, do a right click and tell it to basically turn off the group by box, all right? And that removes that space. Now let me talk about the fields in general. I just showed you how to kind of rearrange the field that got out of place there. But you can also grab a field like this, and as you're dragging it, you might drag it down here somewhere and go, oh, and for some reason you let go, and now you've lost it, all right? So what are you going to do now to get that field back because it's lost. It's not deleted, it's just it's lost from the screen here. To get it back, very easy. All you have to do is you just do a right click on any of the existing fields and go down to where it says Field Chooser. And that will give you a little window here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and find, in this case, the From field. And there it is. And all we have to do here is we take From right there and hold on the mouse and just kind of drag it up here. Put it about right there. Oh, actually, we'll put it over here. Put it about right there, let go, and it goes in. Then you can just close that up. And then we can go ahead and make that a little bit wider, just like that. And then we're back to where we were. I just noticed, too, that we lost our grouping. I turned that off earlier, so I apologize for that. Do you remember how we get that back? Because right now we're sorting by the date we received the email, right? So we normally would see like today, yesterday, as far as groups. How do we get that back? Do you remember? Well, what we do is we go back into our view settings here, and this is in the view tab. We go back over to the group by, and we make sure we put that little check mark back in there. Hit OK, and there we go. Now it's back. So if we go back to the top of our email there, then you'll see the today and so forth. So we can almost look at some of these ways that we rearranged our mail and sorted and so forth as ways of maybe searching for mail. Well, let's look at another angle here, and let's say that what you want to do right now is you want to find email that was from, let's say, Dean, okay? And so I guess what you could do is we could probably sort it by from, and then go and find, alphabetically, something from Dean. But another way to do it would be to go over here to the search, click up there. We can type in Dean, all right, just like that. And then what happens is it ends up giving us all of the emails that have Dean in them, all right? So either Dean as far as, who it's from, or it might even have Dean within the message itself, as far as text goes. So that's pretty cool. Then once you find the email that you're looking for and you've done what you wanted to do with it, you can actually either just click onto your inbox, or up here in the search tools, you can just click on the close search, and that will take you back to where we were. Let's say I want to find all the email messages that have, let's say, the word dog in them, right? So again, I'll go back up into my search here. I'll type in DOG, and there it is. And of course, that is mostly Petco and ASPCA and all that. So we're pretty good on that. So that's pretty easy to do. And again, I can just go back here and either click onto that or just click on to inbox and take myself right back to where we were. Now you'll notice that when we clicked up there onto the search, number one, it's going to be searching for mail that we have in the current mailbox. The current mailbox means like everything. All right, so that's really nice with that. But you'll also notice that we get this search ribbon popping up here where we can kind of focus on different things. Now, if I wanted to maybe see, without even typing anything here, I just want to find all my emails that have attachments, because I can't remember who the email was from, but I know that they had sent an email with an attachment, and I need to get that attachment, but I can't remember who it was that had sent that. So I can just go back here and click onto attachments, or has attachments, right? And what that will do eventually, so it's not too bad, it's pretty easy, and then you can kind of scroll through that and find what you need to find. And then you can go over here to, let's say, from, and you can say something like, I know it had Dean in it, all right? And there's all the Deans that contain Dean that are attachments as well. So you can see how it kind of adds on and on with this. So you just keep on going and going with it. And then when you're ready to get back to where you were, you can either click onto here and close it there, or click on your inbox over there and get yourself back to where you were. All right. There's another interesting search that you can do as well, and this is kind of out there, but it might be something that you could use from time to time. You go back into the search here, and there's an item on here, sent to, all right? And there, what we have is sent to me or CC. So in other words, was it sent to me as a to or as a CC, okay? And that'd be pretty much everything. Or how about one where it's like not sent directly to me? In other words, it was sent to me along with other people, right? So if I click onto that one, it's only going to show me those emails that were not only sent to me, but also had other people's addresses in them as well, okay? I have no idea why you'd use that, but just something kind of interesting to see there. And then we can just go ahead and close up the search and get back to square one again. There's another one I like as well, and you're going to see this feature a little bit later on in some other videos, but for now, we have something called a follow-up flag. In other words, we can mark an email as a follow-up for us to go make sure that we follow up on that email at some date. We make a to-do out of it. And I've got a number of them like that. So what we can do is we go back up here and click onto that and click on to flagged, all right? And this will then show us all the messages that I have flagged. Hopefully I've got a few here. And there we go. Not too many in there. I think I erased a number of them, so they no longer have the flag on there. But kind of interesting. But you'll see later on how or why we do that and how we go about doing it. So I'm just going to clear that out. But I just thought it'd be kind of an interesting thing to see there. Now, this last thing I want to talk about is something called conditional formatting. And what we can actually do is color an email or any email message, whatever color, based on who it's from, or based on where it's from, or based on some sort of a content, word or phrase or something like that in there. It's actually a pretty powerful tool. So let's start out and let's look at Tony, this email from Tony. I want to make sure that anytime that I get an email message from Tony, that the message turns red. That way I just kind of notice it, it kind of stands out, all right? And the way I go about doing that is go over into the View tab here, all right? And then we go over to View Settings, and down here is Conditional Formatting. There we go. And then at this point, what we'll do is we'll go in there and add a rule. And the rule is going to be that any mail that comes from Tony, I want it to turn red, right? So all we have to do, now these that you see here right now are ones that from Microsoft that are doing certain formatting on our screen here. The example would be unread messages. They're blue. Well, as you can see, my unread messages are blue. That's pretty much the default. If you don't like that, you can turn it off. Just hit the check mark, and that way they won't be blue anymore. They'll just be black, all right? But I don't want to do that right now. I want to show you, first of all, how we would create this rule for Tony. And we would do that as we click on the Add, all right? And I'm just going to type in Tony. Now, this part here has nothing to do with it turning Tony, email from Tony, so different color. It's just the name that we're going to reference. Now, what gives it the power, at least what will make it turn to whatever color, let's say red, would be then we go over here to Font, all right? And I go in here and I say, okay, I want to make it red, and I also want to make it bold, all right? And then I hit OK. And then the next thing is the condition. What's going to trigger it to turn it red? Well, it's from Tony. So I click on the condition, and it says from, and I'm just going to type in Tony. Now, I can be lazy and just type in Tony, all right? The problem will be if I just do it like that, is that if there's any other email from other Tonys that will also turn color, all right? So if it wasn't, so if you want to make sure that doesn't happen, then you would type in the full address, the full email address here. I don't want to do that because I can't remember what it is. So I'm just going to leave it as Tony, all right? But normally you would just type in the address or Tony at whatever, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll hit OK on that. Hit OK again, and then OK again. And now what will happen is you'll see all the Tony email in red. That's pretty cool. Now, let me just point something out here. Let me go back up to the top here because I know I got an email message there. This is red even though it's already been red. Okay, so here's the thought. We can have this feature in place, but make it so where once the email is read, it no longer will be read. Okay, so we want the unread, or we want the read to be not read, but we want the unread to be read. How about that one, huh? All right, so how would we make sure that that happens? Because right now, this one I know was read already, right? Well, what we'll do is we'll go back into that feature. So we'll go back into View Settings. We'll go back here to our conditional formatting. Go back to Tony, all right? And then we'll go back to the condition, all right? We click on the condition. Now what we'll do is we'll go over here to where it says More Choices and tell it that we only want the items that are unread to be read, okay? So we'll go ahead and hit OK on that, and OK a few more times here. And now you'll see, let me go back to the top there, you will see now that Tony is not red because he is red. All right. But in any event, though, that's pretty cool. And all of the other messages that were read are not going to be read now because they've all been read, all right? But what I'll do here, just real quick, is I'll do a right click on here, and I'll tell it that I want to mark it as unread, right? And now that turns red. All right, let's do another one. Let's say that we want to have messages turn, let's say, green if they contain the word Excel in them, all right? So I'm going to go back into our View Settings, go back to Conditional Formatting, and I'm going to click on Add, and we'll type in, let's say, Excel or something like that, right? That's the reference, right? The font then, we'll say that we want that to be green, all right? And we want it to be bold as well, all right? And then we'll hit OK on that, and then we'll go to the condition, right? And in this case, up at the top here, we're going to type in the word Excel, just like that. And once we've done that, then we go, and this, now here it says only in the subject line, right? Well, I doubt I might have too much in the subject line, so what I'm going to also do is tell it that I want to search not only the subject field, but also the message body itself, all right? So then I go ahead and hit OK, and then I'll hit OK again, and then OK, and there we go. And you'll see that we've got a number of different ones. So all those either contain Excel in the subject line, or they contain Excel. I'm trying to find one that doesn't have it in the subject line here. My God, they've all got. But anyway, if there were that didn't have Excel here, and it was green, then it would have to be that Excel was in the body itself. But you get the idea. Now, if you want to either get rid of these or temporarily turn them off, then all you have to do is you go back into View Settings. We go back to our conditional formatting. And in this case, we can either hit, take them off like that, or go to each of them and hit the delete, and that gets rid of it. Now, while I'm here as well, let me just kind of point something else out. I was saying before, as far as the unread messages, and that's something that Microsoft has done. A lot of people don't like this blue, all right? They would rather it be back to the standard default of days gone by of black. All right. So what you can do is we can go to this one here, click on the font, and instead of going with the custom powder blue that they've given us here, we can say, well, we want to go black. All right, so there we go. And we'll make it bold, hit OK, hit OK, hit OK, and there we go. So now, there you have it. All right. I've kind of gotten accustomed to the blue, but a lot of people just don't like it. It's kind of hard to see sometimes for people. So if that's you, then this might be a thought then. All right. Now I'm going to go back in and change it back. So I'm just going to go back into View Settings, go back to my conditional formatting, click on the font, and then change this back to custom, right? Hit OK, hit OK, hit OK, and there we go. Now we're back to blue. All right. So hopefully this is some help to you. Some of these features hopefully you can use. I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.